Chapter 801, Big to Small, Suppressing the Demonic Cultivators. As it turned out, in the Tai Chiu battlefield, after Fang Yuan and the others left, Dong Fang Chang Fan gradually controlled his internal danger. The situation was turning around for him. He was an old schemer. After Fang Yuan left, he realized this problem. He immediately guessed that the three mysterious black-robed Gu immortals were going to attack his base. But he had made arrangements in Jade Pool Blessed Land. He was not worried. Instead, he was glad that these demonic path Gu immortals were splitting up. He could deal with unfettered scholar more easily this way. But soon, he was shocked to find out that he had lost his connection with Thatched Hut. This shock was no small matter. Thatched Hut was Dong Fang Chang Fan's biggest treasure. It was heavily guarded by Dong Fang Chang Fan's arrangements. Even against a rank 8 Gu immortal, it could hold on for a while. How could it lose its connection to him in such a short time without any warning? Dong Fang Chang Fan immediately changed his plans. He gave up on the Tai Chiu battlefield, flying towards his base to salvage the situation. Unfettered Scholar saw that Dong Fang Chang Fan was escaping. He had to chase after him relentlessly. Dong Fang Chang Fan had not told Old Lord Kenyang the final critical steps yet, thus the latter also followed him, fighting as they traveled. The two sides flew as they engaged in a huge aerial battle. The battlefield quickly shifted. After spending a lot of time, they reached Jade Pool Blessed Land. Thatched Hut was missing. Jade Pool Blessed Land was broken open, as a hole appeared connecting to the outside world. Seeing the demonic path Gu immortals scavenging for resources openly, Dong Fang Chang Fan was extremely furious. He next saw the enslavement path Gu immortal, Chia Shermin, using his unique method to capture Dong Fang tribe's Gu masters. Dong Fang Chang Fan was so angry, countless star thoughts were flying out of his head, causing the hat on his head to fall off. He was truly fuming. You demonic path scoundrels are truly unforgivable. Dong Fang Chang Fan pointed his finger, disregarding the huge amount of immortal essence expenditure. He used his trump card killer move, Myriad Star Fireflies. He Lulan and the others were still attacking Captivating Sea. They saw the countless starlight specks, starlight filling the sky like snow. It was extremely beautiful. Such a beautiful sight instead made everyone on alert. They quickly stopped their previous actions as they changed their attacks, flying into the sky and attacking Dong Fang Chang Fan. The current situation was very different from the circumstances in Tai Chiu. In the Tai Chiu battlefield, the band of demonic path Gu immortals were competing intensely for a wisdom path inheritance. But Dong Fang Chang Fan had used possession. The wisdom path inheritance would only be in his mind. There was little hope of them taking the inheritance. But now, the huge Jade Pool Blessed Land had countless resources that were openly available to everyone. They could seize anything they wanted. With such huge profits here, as long as they killed Dong Fang Chang Fan, they could continue looting the place. The band of demonic path Gu immortals stopped fighting amongst themselves and worked together. They were extremely excited, and acted like a united group. The demonic path Gu immortals attacked together. Dong Fang Chang Fan's expression became very ugly. He felt his pressure intensifying as he shielded himself from all directions. He was at a disadvantage. Kill him and the entirety of Jade Pool Blessed Land would be ours. Half Moon Brutemaster shouted. Other than this Jade Pool Blessed Land, there is still old scoundrel Dong Fang's Wisdom Path inheritance. That is the #1 Wisdom Path inheritance in Northern Plains. Peacock Flying Immortal Hirua said with shining eyes. I can give up even the Wisdom Path inheritance. What I want is his possession method. Pai Shui Han's expression was cold as he attacked unceasingly. After Dong Fang Chang Fan retreated several times, he finally stabilized his situation after getting help from Old Lord Kenyang. Being suppressed like this, the anger in him was reaching an extreme. After getting some time to rest, he smiled in spite of his anger, "I will make sure all of you die here." Saying so, an intense tremor occurred in Jade Pool Blessed Land. The heavens shook and the earth trembled. The demonic Path Gu immortals realized that all of their mortal killer moves lost much of their effectiveness. Dongfang Changfan was Dongfang tribe's first supreme elder for so many years. He held a large amount of control over Jade Pool Blessed Land. Even though the Blessed Land was publicly owned by the tribe, and he could not manipulate it entirely, he had enough authority to use Jade Pool Blessed Land to repel these demonic Path Gu immortals. Jade Pool Blessed Land was Dongfang tribe's headquarters. Dongfang Changfan had an advantage when he fought here. It was only that the thieves came in when the owner was not around. The demonic Path Gu immortals' attacks weakened, but Dongfang Changfan did not continue to engage them. He flew down towards a certain gap in space. He directly flew down into captivating sea, breaking the illusion and seeing that the sea of peach trees was in a pathetic state. The peach wolf group had mostly been killed until 2 or 3 were left. Some wolf corpses had yet to be taken away. They were lying down near the peach trees. It was a miserable sight. Dongfang Changfan looked upon this, feeling his heart bleeding. Many years of exhausting efforts had gone down the drain. He suppressed his pain as he shouted, "Brother Fang, I protected your tribe for hundreds of years. We have an agreement to look after one another. I have never oppressed or harmed you. Now that my tribe is at a point of crisis, I need your help." Dongfang Changfan's voice reverberated in the air. A few breaths later, a sharp voice resounded in the air, answering, "That is only natural." After this was said, everyone saw a jade green light emerging from captivating sea, landing in Dongfang Yuliang's hands. The jade green light faded, and a small mountain could be seen. It was Minuscule Mountain. "This is Minuscule Mountain." Many demons were extremely excited. Pai Shui Han, He Lu Lan, and some others had tense expressions. Listening to the words exchanged between Dongfang Changfan and the Mini-Man Gu Immortal, it appeared that Minuscule Mountain was not actually owned by Dongfang tribe. Instead, the Mini-Man tribe and Dongfang tribe had come to an agreement. They were allies. To be able to become Dongfang tribe's ally, the Mini-Man tribe should have corresponding foundation and power. All. West Ch. L. I/N/C. M. With Minuscule Mountain in his hands, Dongfang Changfan laughed. His sharp gaze swept through the band of demonic cultivators. He had no hesitation, his inner fury was urging him to take revenge. "Today is the day you all die." Dongfang Changfan held Minuscule Mountain as he moved his fingers, manipulating myriad star fireflies to attack the demonic Path immortals. Countless starlight specks moved. It was like a huge blue wave. His sleeves were fluttering in the air, as if he was a transcendent being among men. His aura surged as it made the demonic cultivators feel fear. Fading Heavenly Flower. 1,000 Disintegrations. Ice Dragon Lock. Strength Path Giant Hand. The rank 7 battle strength experts attacked at once, for immortal killer moves were aimed at Dongfang Changfan. Mortal killer moves were unusable already, only immortal killer moves had any useful effect. Final Afterglow. Old Lord Ken Yang muttered inwardly. He reinforced both him and Dongfang Changfan, before waving his sleeve and shooting out the life-chasing fire. The life-chasing fire went after Unfettered Scholar, who was the biggest threat. He was forced to retreat as he lost his attacking position. Unfettered Scholar bellowed angrily. This had already happened many times. Life-chasing fire always forced him to use 1,000 disintegrations on himself to cancel out the attack. Dongfang Changfan had been struggling at death's doors many times already, but he refused to die. After 1,000 disintegrations was diverted, the remaining ice dragon, Strength Path Giant Hand, and Heavenly Flower was still going after Dong Fang Chang Fan. Dong Fang Chang Fan raised minuscule mountain up high. The closer the demonic Path Gu Immortal's killer moves approached minuscule mountain, the weaker they became. In the end, the ice dragon turned into an ice snake. The Strength Path Giant Hand shrank to less than 1% of its original size, and the Heavenly Flower faded and wilted. When these attacks finally reached Dong Fang Chang Fan, he waved his sleeves and blocked them easily. Immortal Killer Move, Big to Small. Pai Shui Han's expression was cold. He found out the enemy's method immediately. It turned out that the Miniman race Gu Immortal with the surname Fang in Minuscule Mountain was a Rule Path Gu Immortal. He had the Rule Path Immortal Gu Small. He led the Miniman tribe and made an alliance with Dong Fang tribe, to obtain space for his tribe to live. At this point, when he made his move, he used an extraordinary method and suppressed the demon's surge of power. All of the demons frowned. Hei Lu Lan was already feeling regret. If she knew that Minuscule Mountain would be so strong, she would not have gone all in. Many demons attacked Captivating Sea forcefully. Even though they defeated the Peach Wolf group, that was not enough for Minuscule Mountain to use that killer move. This is somewhat troublesome. To solve this problem, we will have to rely on you, Unfettered Scholar. Pai Shui Han turned back, talking to Unfettered Scholar. Unfettered Scholar snorted coldly. At this crucial moment, who else can be relied upon but me? Pai Shui Han's eyelids trembled, but he did not rebuke him. Unfettered Scholar was also a Rule Path Gu Immortal. He had the Rule Path Immortal Gu Disintegrate. He similarly had the Immortal Killer Move 1000 Disintegrations. To counter Rule Path with Rule Path was the most effective option. At once, the demons battled Dong Fang Chang Fan, Old Lord Ken Yang, and the Miniman Gu Immortal with Unfettered Scholar at the lead. The demons attacked one by one, trying to provide an opportunity for Unfettered Scholar. Unfettered Scholar grabbed onto the opportunity and used 1000 Disintegrations on Minuscule Mountain. 1000 Disintegrations was used against Big to Small, but it was countered by the latter. Your Rule Path Immortal Gu is only rank 6, my Small Gu is rank 7, how can you beat me? The Miniman Gu Immortal's laughter could be heard coming from Minuscule Mountain. It was smug and arrogant. Unfettered Scholar's expression was grim. He could not refute it. His foundation was weaker compared to the Miniman tribe. The situation was becoming worse for the demonic path side. Dong Fang Chang Fan had Minuscule Mountain. He also had Old Lord Ken Yang watching out for him. He was in an impregnable position. As the killer move, Myriad Star Fireflies, became stronger, his battle strength would surge with it. Eventually, it would end in a victory for him. He would defeat the band of demons and return to the world of Northern Plains Gu Immortals with a domineering display. The demons thought hard, but they had no way to counter Big to Small. The only tactic left for them was to attack forcefully, using their advantage in numbers to drain all of the enemy's immortal essence. But demonic Path Gu Immortals were loners. They usually only considered their own interests. They did not want to expend too much of their own resources. It was not worth it. Just as they were worrying, the demonic Path Gu Immortal Zhou Ping shouted angrily, "Damn it, my literature carps were taken away." The demons looked over following the voice and saw that at the periphery of the battlefield, Fang Yuan, who was above a deep pool, was drawing the water into his own immortal aperture. Seeing this, even Hei Lu Lan transmitted a message to Fang Yuan in fury. "Fang Yuan, what are you doing?" The demons were fighting a tough battle. In the end, they realized that someone was stealing resources while they were occupied. This was like a situation where everyone was in a boat, paddling and moving forward. In the end, one of their companions decided to start fishing and even caught a big fat fish, keeping it for himself. Chapter 802, Looting Persistently, Internal Strife. You, how can you be so selfish? Unfettered Scholar pointed at Fang Yuan, chiding. My literature carps, my fish group. Zhou Ping screamed angrily. We are here fighting desperately, but you are taking benefits in the background? Taking advantage of us? Pai Shui Han's eyes were flashing with a cold light, his tone was chilly. My group of literature carps, return them to me. Zhou Ping roared, mixed with a tone of sobbing. The urgent matter now is to kill Dongfang Changfan. By then, won't we have everything? Fairy Li Shan's transmitted, her tone also had a hint of accusation in it. Damn it, return my fish group, I demand justice. Zhou Ping was so regretful his eyes turned red. If he knew this, he might as well have destroyed the fish group. He spent so much precious time trying to get this resource, yet now it landed in someone else's hands, and it felt like he was only safe keeping it. Shut up. Otherwise, I am going to thrash some people. Fang Yuan was very ruthless, his tone was arrogant and he did not make any form of explanation or denial. You. Zhou Ping was so angry his eyes were opened wide and staring, he almost spat out blood. Fang Yuan laughed loudly, he had to act ruthless, to not allow these demonic Path Gu immortals to take an inch and demand a mile, this could protect his interests. Pai Shui Han, Unfettered Scholar, and the others were gritting their teeth in anger, but they could not attack. Fang Yuan had rank 7 battle strength, if they really fought, he still had 2 companions. It's nothing much if it's only that rank 6 black-robed Gu immortal, but this rank 7 is likely to be Fairy Li Shan from Snowy Mountain. Fairy Li Shan had once made an agreement with Dongfang tribe, she could not harm them. Now that she is involving herself in this matter, it's no wonder her appearance and identity are concealed. Once she attacked, there would be many flaws. Fairy Li Shan's identity was already revealed to Unfettered Scholar and Pai Shui Han. Even though they found out, Pai Shui Han and Unfettered Scholar did not dare to attack her, because Fairy Li Shan was a member of Snowy Mountain, she was a subordinate of the rank 8 Gu immortal, Old Ancestor Xuehu. Old Ancestor Xuehu wanted to refine fortune rivaling Heaven Gu, this was known to everyone. But to refine a rank 8 immortal Gu, the investment was massive. Perhaps right now, Fairy Li Shan was here due to orders from Old Ancestor Xuehu, to loot Dongfang tribe's resources, this would be the will of a rank 8 expert. Fang Yuan naturally knew Unfettered Scholar and Pai Shui Han's mindsets, he was using Fairy Li Shan's reputation now to deter the demons, so that he could take the literature carps for himself. But just as he was about to continue saying arrogant words and deepen everyone's impression, Dongfang Changfan suddenly lost control again. Dongfang Yikong's face turned ruthless, he looked at Fang Yuan with eyes that could shoot out fire, his voice turned into Dongfang Yikong's. He screamed at Fang Yuan, scoundrel, you dare to take my literature carps away. I was only storing them here temporarily. You dare to take them, do you know how much effort I had put in to obtain this group of literature carps? I want you to die like a dog. While he roared, he flew towards Fang Yuan. Everyone stared blankly at this. Earlier, Dongfang Changfan had appeared normal for a very long time, everyone thought that he had regained control and succeeded in his possession. Nobody expected this to happen. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with brilliance, he quickly reacted, his 6-strength path giant hands flew over while his body retreated backwards. He grabbed onto the opportunity, but he was vigilant. What if the enemy was only acting and was purposely exposing a weakness? What if this was a trap? But the truth was, this was no trap. Dongfang Changfan regained control of the body very quickly. His expression turned dark, to think that he had lost control again. Man proposes, God disposes. He had made ample preparations, these demonic path Gu immortals were not his match. Even old Lord Kenyang was his helpless tool that was being made use of all along, but the strength of the heavenly tribulation was beyond his expectations. Earlier, he was only suppressing the wills of the 8 Gu immortals forcefully, he had not gotten rid of them yet. Now that the literature carps were taken by Fang Yuan, an intense external stimulus awakened the rage in Dong Fang Yikong's will. He burst through the suppression and emerged. The wills of these 8 Gu immortals were not the biggest issue. The problem was that due to their support, the original will of this body had been gathering strength, it was becoming quite formidable. Although Dong Fang Yu Liang's soul was destroyed, the fragments of his soul was scattered in his body, turning into will. Thought, will, emotion, within these divisions there weren't individual qualitative differences, differences were shown from quantity. Dong Fang Yu Liang's will had already accumulated to become similar to the other 8 Gu immortals. The most key danger was that this body was originally his. If his will burst out, the threat was many times that of the other Gu immortals of Dong Fang tribe. Dong Fang Chang Fan sighed deeply. He raised minuscule mountain up and used the big to small immortal killer move to weaken the 6 strength path giant hands, before breaking them apart. Fang Yuan shouted from afar, "What are you waiting for? The enemy is already separated, why aren't you killing them now?" The other demonic path Gu immortals all had rich battle experience, how could they miss such an opportunity? Right as Fang Yuan was still shouting, Pai Shui Han, unfettered scholar and the others had already attacked, while Divine Lord Tian Du, Shi Ho, Lu Qingming, and Hiroa came over and encircled the area, sealing any escape routes that Dong Fang Chang Fan could take. At this point, the demons already had some basic teamwork, they could cooperate to execute simple tactics. Even though these were just basics, it gave Dong Fang Chang Fan huge pressure. Old Lord Kenyang was angered to a boiling point. He did not expect Dong Fang Chang Fan to lose control again. Originally, he was fighting together with Dong Fang Chang Fan, they were close together and could take care of each other. Now that Dong Fang Chang Fan had charged out alone, he was surrounded by the demonic path immortals, while Kenyang himself was blocked outside. Dong Fang Chang Fan, what is going on with you? At the same time, minuscule mountain was shaking, the questioning of the mini-man Gu immortal could be heard. The alarming change earlier had scared him. Don't worry. Dong Fang Chang Fan fought against the enemies around him as he answered plainly. You sure are calm. Don't you see how many people are encircling you? The mini-man Gu immortal was going crazy. Hang in there. Old Lord Kenyang was anxious, he fought his way in as he attempted to join up with Dong Fang Chang Fan again. I will stop him. Fairy Li Shan emerged, obstructing Old Lord Kenyang. Fairy Li Shan had once made an agreement with Dong Fang Chang Fan, she was using a special technique now to suppress the agreement's backlash. Despite this, during the battle earlier, she was focusing essentially all of her attacks on Old Lord Kenyang. The Sourk. Of this content N/O/V/L/N. The battle intensified all of a sudden. The demonic path party wanted to take advantage of the mistake to eliminate Dong Fang Chang Fan. As long as Dong Fang Chang Fan was dead, the blessed land would have no one controlling it, the demonic path Gu immortals would not be restricted, even if Old Lord Kenyang and minuscule mountain were around, they could not change the result. Dong Fang Chang Fan's side was trying their best, as long as he joined up with Old Lord Kenyang, they would regain their former advantage. During such an intense battle, Fang Yuan was at the periphery of the battlefield, looting the resources of the deep pools. Fang Yuan's actions made all of the demonic path Gu immortals furious, they accused him while shouting loudly. Fang Yuan however, gave his reasoning, what do you guys know? This is a battle tactic, I am trying to trigger the Gu immortal wills that were suppressed in his body, to make old scoundrel Dong Fang commit a mistake. Wasn't the current advantage that we gained due to me? Quickly coordinate with me, do not judge the heart of a gentleman with the heart of a small man. After Unfettered Scholar heard this, his handsome face distorted with anger. Pai Shui Han's heart was filled with the flames of rage. He felt that at this moment, he was not an ice and water path Gu immortal, instead, he was cultivating fire path. But what Fang Yuan said was true, they had no way to rebuke him. Divine Lord Tian Du expressed everyone's thoughts. Why is it that we are all fighting here while you are out there gaining profits? The mini-man Gu immortal from Minuscule Mountain also yelled, what do you mean, judge the heart of a gentleman with the heart of a small man? This is discrimination against our mini-man race, I will make you pay the price. Zhou Ping's eyes turned, he said, this battle tactic makes sense, let me coordinate. Saying this, he left his position in the battlefield and flew down towards a deep pool. Pai Shui Han roared in anger, get the hell back. Unfettered Scholar was breathing roughly, he activated 1,000 disintegrations, aiming it at Zhou Ping. Zhou Ping shouted in pain, he suffered a heavy blow, he almost fell to the ground. This could not be allowed. Defeat and victory were thinly separated, if everyone went to get profits, who would be left to kill Dong Fang Changfan? Unfettered Scholar shouted coldly, now is a crucial moment, if anyone tries to leave without reason, even if the enemy is in front of us, I will kill you. He no longer had the gentlemanly air from earlier, he started using abusive language. Zhou Ping, why aren't you back in battle yet, do you want me to send you off? Pai Shui Han said coldly, threatening. Zhou Ping lowered his head, he had an expression of anger and hatred, but he had no choice but to return. Fang Yuan could not kill him, but that did not mean other rank 7 battle strength Gu immortals could not. The other demonic path Gu immortals saw this and suppressed their greed. They felt glad, and also indignant. Why was it that Fang Yuan could scavenge resources while they could not? Because of battle strength. Fang Yuan had rank 7 battle strength, Unfettered Scholar and Pai Shui Han, even if they wanted to, had neither the capability nor time to punish him. But for the other rank 6 Gu immortals, if they dared to mess around so openly? Did they think these rank 7s could be toyed with? Gu immortals who made it this far were all astute figures. But to mess around with others, one had to see if they had the ability to do so. But even Fairy Li Shan could not stand to let this continue, she loudly spoke at Fang Yuan with a cold snort, Number 7, come back now, we'll fight together. Fang Yuan was slightly stunned, he could not help but let out a laugh. Earlier, he was scheming against the others, but at the next moment, his ally actually slightly schemed against him. Even though he, He Lulan and Fairy Li Shan had signed the Snowy Mountain Alliance, in which nobody had command over others in the alliance, but right now, they had to act in front of everyone. Earlier, to show that they had a deep background, they put up a show and deterred the demons. Right now, he could not ruin that background they created, he had to continue acting. Over at Fairy Li Shan's side, her circumstances were quite bad. She fought using Wood Path, but Old Lord Kenyang was a Fire Path Gu immortal, be it fighting techniques or methods, Fairy Li Shan was heavily countered. Chapter 803, Band of Demons Repels Righteous Immortals. Fang Yuan came to help, he worked together with Fairy Li Shan, obstructing Old Lord Kenyang. Fang Yuan was an immortal zombie, he was not afraid of life chasing fire, but even so, the Strength Path Phantom Army in his immortal aperture was taking serious damage from the fire. After fighting for a while, Fang Yuan felt heartache inwardly. When he used the Strength Path giant hands, they did not use much immortal essence. That was because the Strength Path giant hands were formed using countless group Strength Gu along with the Strength Path phantoms. It was the manifestation of their strength. In essence, each Strength Path giant hand was made from tens of thousands of Strength Path phantoms. The Strength Path phantoms were created using his immortal essence a while ago. They were stored in his immortal aperture. But now the life-chasing fire went after their origin, burning the Strength Path phantoms directly. By now, the Strength Path phantom army that Fang Yuan had accumulated had been mostly destroyed. If he summoned more now, he would need to expend huge amounts of green grape immortal essence. If this goes on, the expenditure is too great. This will not do. Fairy, block him for now, I have a plan. After fighting for some time, Fang Yuan suddenly transmitted while retreating. Fairy Li Shan heard this and felt a strong urge to curse at him. At this point in the battle, he was still thinking about immortal essence expenditure. She had already gone all out regarding that. She did not even dare to think about the amount of immortal essence she had expended. When they attacked Captivating Sea, in order to fight against time, she used several immortal killer moves. Now that she was fighting with Old Lord Kenyang, her expenditure was even greater. Fang Yuan was still thinking about immortal essence expenditure now. It was obvious he had obtained the most profits. Seeing that Fang Yuan was retreating, the demons had varying expressions. They were stirred. Why is he flying down again? Unfettered Scholar asked Fairy Li Shan. He could confirm Fairy Li Shan's true identity already. Fang Yuan did not respond to him at all. It was much more effective to ask Fairy Li Shan. Fairy Li Shan was inwardly angry. She fought intensely as she replied coldly. He said the immortal essence expenditure is too great. If this goes on, he has a plan to execute. Still caring about immortal essence? How much did we spend already? The band of demons were furious. Some had bloodshot eyes, some were breathing roughly. Unfettered Scholar's body was trembling. In truth, even Fairy Li Shan and others had plundered some resources. In the entire demonic path gang, Unfettered Scholar was the one who put in the most work while obtaining the least. He did not even loot a single resource point. Dong Fang Chang Fan felt his pressure intensifying. It was a vicious cycle. Fang Yuan's words angered the band of demons. They were venting their rage on him. At once, Dong Fang Chang Fan raised minuscule mountain to defend himself. He was injured in many areas. He was in a pathetic state. The situation was getting worse. What Fang Yuan had said earlier was not a lie. He flew towards a deep pool directly. In fact, while the two sides fought intensely, they had shifted locations unintentionally. Fang Yuan realized that a deep pool below them was full of Dongfang tribesmen who were hiding. Evidently, this was an assembly point. Dongfang Chang Fan, I want you to see it for yourself, the pitiful death of your tribesmen. Ha ha ha. Fang Yuan's wild laughter was mixed with the slamming of his Strength Path giant hand. How could the methods of mortals block an immortal killer move? The barrier of light that was erected with many layers was instantly destroyed, without even holding on for a second the moment the Strength Path giant hand made contact with it. The Strength Path giant hand slammed down. With a loud bang, the ground collapsed on itself. Many unlucky Mortal Gu masters were smashed into meat paste. The Mortal Gu masters at the periphery felt the intense wind caused by the hand. They scattered everywhere and screamed for help. They had no fighting spirit. The Strength Path giant hand rose into the air. A large crevice in the shape of a bloody handprint was left on the ground. My tribesmen. My kin. I will protect them. Dongfang Chang Fan saw this and lost control again. His voice became high-pitched. Dongfang Chang Fan saw this and knew a problem was arising, but he could not stop it. This was Dongfang Yu Liang's will. The biggest internal threat. The eyes of the demons were shining. They attacked furiously. Dong Fang Yu Liang disregarded them, he flew down urgently to save everyone. Damn it! Damn it! As the danger of death approached, the mini-man Gu immortal surnamed Fang shouted out. He had to manipulate minuscule mountain, flying to the top of Dong Fang Yu Liang's head, blocking attacks for him due to the agreement. Minuscule mountain shook intensely from the attack of the demons, countless small rocks fell apart and crumbled. Dong Fang Chong Fan, you've caused me great harm. The mini-man Gu immortal shouted in anger and regret. Fang Yuan saw that this method was effective. He laughed loudly as he intentionally slowed down, chasing and killing the escaping Dong Fang tribesmen as he attracted Dong Fang Yu Liang's attention. But while Dong Fang Yu Liang was flying in the air, he was suppressed and Dong Fang Chong Fan regained control once more. Dong Fang Chong Fan realized that although he was injured, his surroundings were clear now. Only a few Gu immortals were right behind after him. There was a high chance he could break past the encirclement and join up with Old Lord Kenyang. Because Dong Fang Yu Liang had charged out without caring about life or death, minuscule mountain paid a huge price and took the damage in his place. Such a desperate and dangerous act had been out of everyone's expectations. It gave him a chance instead. You fools, I gave you a chance but you're letting him escape. Fang Yuan pointed at the demons and scolded. Unfettered Scholar and the others were furious and anxious. They had no time to care about Fang Yuan. They shouted. Chase him. Don't let him escape. At once, the intense combat had become a battle of pursuit. Dong Fang Chong Fan was escaping and breaking out of his encirclement. Success was in front of him, but the band of demons was doggedly on his tail. They threatened to surround him again. On another side, Old Lord Kenyang was trying to reach Dong Fang Chong Fan, but Fairy Li Shan remained in his way, blocking his paths. At once, the two sides were like headless chickens. They were flying around chaotically in the air. Their flying route was completely messy, but this showed the strong foundations of the Gu immortals in flying. These Gu immortals were all at least flying masters. Mortal Gu masters did not have the time or effort to learn flying, but Gu immortals did. Flying was a very useful method for advancing or retreating. Almost all Gu immortals spent a lot of time on it, having a good grasp of this ability. Quick, kill some more Dong Fang Gu masters, make him lose control. Unfettered Scholar shouted. Fang Yuan was on it already. He used the strength path giant hands to grab a few Dong Fang Gu masters, before squeezing them to death. His methods were ruthless and savage. It had made Dong Fang Chong Fan lose control many times. But there were limited numbers of Dong Fang Gu masters, and Dong Fang Chong Fan refused to go down. At this moment, someone shouted, Chia Shermin. Chia Shermin captured many Dong Fang tribesmen earlier. He wanted to sell them as slaves. Chia Shermin was furious. These were resources that he had spent a lot of time to gather. Chia Shermin. Unfettered Scholar shouted while pursuing. Make a sacrifice now, we will compensate you double after the battle. Pai Shui Han said grimly. Chia Shermin wanted to reject them, but seeing that Pai Shui Han was oozing with killing intent, he shuddered. Okay. Ch. Ek out L. T. St. V. L. On NOV. L/bin. C. M. He took out many Dong Fang Gu masters from his immortal aperture, killing them in front of Dong Fang Chong Fan. This made the remaining wills extremely furious. They came out one by one. Forget the other Dong Fang Gu immortals' wills, the most crucial one was Dong Fang Yu Liang's will. He was still a mortal at rank 5, he had a deeper bond with the tribesmen. Every time his will took control, it gave Dong Fang Chong Fan, minuscule mountain, and Old Lord Kenyang huge problems. As time continued to pass, Fairy Li Shan could not obstruct old Lord Kenyang anymore, they successfully joined up. But the band of demons had gathered a huge advantage already from Dongfang Changfan's loss of control. Their victory was assured. Minuscule mountain was full of cracks, even while it flew in the air, rocks were falling off from it. Old Lord Kenyang had suffered many attacks in order to take care of Dongfang Changfan, his body was heavily injured, even his beard was dyed red from blood. This was the most dispiriting battle he had ever had. During the battle, he had asked Dongfang Changfan the final portions of the possession method, but would Dongfang Changfan dare to tell him? Once he told him, old Lord Kenyang would flee. Dongfang tribe was only cooperating with Immortal Crane sect, the possession method was the biggest bargaining chip. Retreat, we cannot stay here. Old Lord Kenyang sighed, he transmitted this to Dongfang Changfan. As long as we live, there will always be more opportunities in the future. The Mini-Man Gu Immortal was afraid that Dongfang Changfan would continue fighting, he quickly added this. Dongfang Changfan smiled bitterly, do you think I am someone who cannot understand the situation? We'll retreat. He gave Jade Pool Blessed Land another longing, he was inwardly filled with anger and hatred, but he had made up his mind. Temporary losses were nothing, a true champion could give things up and retreat. But right at this moment, Fang Yuan laughed, another Dongfang tribe assembly point, Dongfang Changfan, watch closely, I am going to slaughter them. Shameless scoundrel, you dare to bully me to this extent. Dongfang Changfan was furious, he attacked with myriad star fireflies. Fang Yuan saw the imposing attack and smiled, he did not stay any longer, he evaded the attack. But this myriad star fireflies attack did not chase after him, it curved and flew down, slamming into the Dongfang tribe assembly point. The Dongfang tribesmen who were hiding inside were all slaughtered in an instant, not a single person was left alive. This. At once, even the demonic Path Gu immortals were shocked by Dongfang Changfan's ruthlessness. Rather than let you threaten me, I would rather destroy this weakness while I am in control of this body. Brave souls of Dongfang tribe, listen to me, I, Dongfang Changfan, will exact revenge for you. The hatred and grudge of today's events, I will return them 1,000-fold to you demonic scoundrels. Dongfang Changfan's tears flowed down his cheeks, he spoke in deep pain. Hearing his anguished voice, even the daring and lawless demonic path immortals felt a chill in their hearts. If the number one person in wisdom path escapes, and plots against me in the future. The band of demons were feeling wary, fierce lights emerged in their eyes, they had overflowing killing intent. At this point, both sides were almost running dry, they had expended a huge amount of resources. Initially, it was just a battle for benefits, but now, they could not stop anymore, such a deep-seated hatred was established, there was no way else to resolve this. Go! Dongfang Changfan suddenly flew into the air, opening Jade Pool Blessed Land's doors and flying out. Chapter 804, Old Schemer vanishes without a trace. Chase after him. The band of demons were relentless. But Jade Pool Blessed Land's entrance closed, only a few Gu immortals had followed outside from behind, the rest had to change their directions and fly out from the hole that was made earlier. When they flew out of Jade Pool Blessed Land, even though they could still see Dongfang Changfan's figure, he was already far away in the sky. Everyone was like a meteor, flying through the sky, shrill sounds could be heard. The intense winds brushed against them, everyone used their own movement techniques, but the distance was huge, they were already behind from the start, eventually, their distance started widening. Fang Yuan was wearing a black robe and had 6 wings, his speed raised from time to time, it was due to the activation of Iron Crown Eagle Strength Gu. But even so, there was quite a difference compared to the others, he gradually fell behind, becoming the second wave of immortals. The first wave included Dong Fong Chang Fan, Old Lord Kenyang, Minuscule Mountain, Unfettered Scholar, Zhou Ping, Fairy Li Shan, and Peacock Flying Immortal Hero. The second wave included Pai Shui Han, He Lu Lan, Fang Yuan, Lu Qingming, Chia Shermin, and Divine Lord Tian Du. As for Half Moon Brute Master, Shuozhan, Shi Ho, and the others, they had been left in the dust, their figures could not even be seen, there was no third wave at all. After flying for 15 minutes, Old Lord Kenyang sighed deeply. He transmitted to Dong Fong Chang Fan solemnly, "I will block Unfettered Scholar and 2 other people for you at most, you will give me the final part of the method. Don't mess around, my patience is running out. You also know that my sect has Wisdom Path Gu Immortals, with the information I already have, I can deduce the final steps. Except that I will need to spend a lot of time, effort, and funds, that is all." Dong Fong Chang Fan was quiet for a moment. He did not dare to anger Old Lord Kenyang, otherwise, he might turn on him. He had to give him the possession method. Old Lord Kenyang got what he wanted, but he did not go back on his words. He went back to the huge battle and blocked Unfettered Scholar, Lu Qingming and Peacock Flying Immortal Hero. Meanwhile, the other demonic path immortals chased Dong Fong Chang Fan relentlessly. After a while, Zhou Ping stopped. "I am unresigned. I have 2 immortal level movement killer moves, but at this crucial time, my immortal essence is not enough." He screamed, he felt deeply regretful, he could only watch as the immortals flew away. A while later, Divine Lord Tian Du also started to slow down. He sighed, "Everyone, please fight valiantly, I am unable to go any further." If they did not kill Dong Fong Chang Fan, there would be huge problems later. Divine Lord Tian Du landed while deeply frowning. "Brother Fong, I am not in a good position. Thank you for saving me even though your life was in danger. At this point, you should leave quickly, I will draw them away." A while later, Dong Fong Chang Fan showed an exhausted expression as he secretly transmitted to the Mini-Man Gu Immortal. The Mini-Man Gu Immortal was overjoyed, but he hesitated. "Are you really letting me go? But our agreement is not over yet." Dong Fong Chang Fan interrupted him, throwing Minuscule Mountain out as he said, "Brother Fong, say no more, all the best." Minuscule Mountain. Fairy Li Shan immediately changed her direction and tried to grab at Minuscule Mountain. Minuscule Mountain shook, turning into a jade light as it flew towards the left. At the same time, Dong Fong Chang Fan's tired expression vanished, his speed raised by 30% as he continued to escape. The two split up, the demonic cultivators behind hesitated. But Fairy Li Shan had no hesitation, she pursued Minuscule Mountain. Compared to the tough Dong Fong Chang Fan, the Mini-Man Gu Immortal on Minuscule Mountain was weaker, and Minuscule Mountain was more beneficial to her. Before leaving, she had sent a transmission to Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan for help. After all, it was hard for one person to catch Minuscule Mountain. If there was help, it would be far easier. He Lu Lan did not hesitate, she immediately followed after Fairy Li Shan. But Fang Yuan rejected her outright, he did not stop chasing Dong Fong Chang Fan. Thus, Fang Yuan, Pai Shui Han, and Chia Shermin chased after Dong Fong Chang Fan, while He Lu Lan and Fairy Li Shan went after Minuscule Mountain. Disregarding Fairy Li Shan's side, Dong Fong Chang Fan had successfully used Minuscule Mountain to lure 2 strong foes away. His speed was even faster now as he quickly widened the gap between him and his pursuers. Pai Shui Han was anxious, he shouted to Chia Shermin, "Why aren't you taking out the captives?" Chia Shermin's movement killer move was a chariot, it gave off the aura of Immortal Gu. He was sitting on the chariot, his expression grim. He had kept many of the Dong Fong tribe captives in his immortal aperture, his motive was to leave them for the end, to deal a fatal blow to Dong Fong Chang Fan. But now, he had no choice but to use them in advance. Old scoundrel Dong Fang, your tribesmen are in my hands, fight us directly, you cannot escape. Xianxia Min said this as he killed one Gu master in his hand, taking out another one after that. Dong Fang Chang Fan sneered and chuckled coldly, he continued to fly forward. After Xianxia Min killed the 13th captive, he finally managed to get Dong Fang Chang Fan to make a mistake, the distance between him and Fang Yuan's group shortened again. But Dong Fang Chang Fan quickly suppressed the threat, after regaining control of the body, he flew again and moved ahead. The two sides were in a deadlock, their distance shrunk at times and lengthened at other times. Along the way, they met several Gu immortals, they were either in the righteous path or demonic path, some obstructed them, some chased them, some left immediately and did not want to get involved in this messy situation. An hour later, only Dong Fang Chang Fan, Fang Yuan, Pai Shui Han, and Xianxia Min were left. If I do not die from this, I will definitely reward all of you well. Dong Fang Chang Fan was already quite far ahead, laughing loudly as he escaped. Fang Yuan and the others had grim expressions. These three pursuers were originally from the second wave, with their speed, they could not catch up to Dong Fang Chang Fan after he raised his speed. The longer this dragged on, the greater Dong Fang Chang Fan's advantage, he was gradually suppressing the internal threats in his body, even though Xianxia Min was killing more Dong Fang tribesmen now, Dong Fang Chang Fan was losing control less often than before. What do we do? Pai Shui Han, Fang Yuan, and Xianxia Min looked at each other, they saw anxiety but also anticipation in each other's eyes. Both of you, if you have any methods, please use them, otherwise, it will be too late. Xianxia Min said. Fang Yuan and Pai Shui Han shook their heads. These three were at their wits' end already, they had to treasure their precious immortal essence beads. If they had any methods left, they would have used it already. Seeing that Dong Fang Chang Fan was going to get away from them, the three pursuers showed intense looks of disappointment. But at this moment, Dong Fang Chang Fan lost control again, Dong Fang Yuliang's voice was screaming, his speed fell drastically. Fang Yuan and the others were overjoyed, Xianxia Min shouted, as expected, killing the captives had an effect. Quick, kill him, we can still search his soul later. Fang Yuan and the others quickly got ahead, but at this time, Dong Fang Chang Fan's expression changed, he showed a smile, as if his plot had succeeded. Oh no, it's a trap. Fang Yuan quickly retreated, but it was too late to escape. He only saw a ray of starlight, it moved extremely quickly, it grazed Fang Yuan's shoulder and pierced into Xianxia Min's forehead. Xianxia Min's expression was frozen into a look of utter disbelief. At the next moment, his head exploded, the chariot disassembled as he fell to the ground weakly. Be it Fang Yuan or Pai Shui Han, they were shocked and nervous. It was already so late into the battle, to think that Dong Fang Chang Fan still had such a powerful trump card. He had truly unfathomable depths. If you pursue me any further, Xianxia Min can serve as an example. Dong Fang Chang Fan laughed loudly, escaping again. Earlier, he lost control, that was only him acting, a trap. Xianxia Min was an enslavement path Gu immortal, he had a weaker body than normal immortals, because he was chasing fervently, he was slightly careless, but he actually got killed in one move. Chase him. He is bluffing. Pai Shui Han was stunned for a moment before reacting. Fang Yuan was also pursuing closely, after this attack, he really has nothing left. Although his tone was certain, Fang Yuan did not believe it completely inwardly. If it were other Gu immortals, that would definitely be the case. But it was Dong Fang Chang Fan, this old scoundrel, this was not a certainty. After Xie Shimin died, there were no captives left to lure Dongfang Changfan to lose control. This was terrible news. If they stayed and looted Xie Shimin's immortal aperture and immortal Gu, then they would not make it in time. Dongfang Changfan would manage to escape. Honestly speaking, even though they were still chasing him, Fang Yuan and Pai Shui Han did not have much hope within themselves. But quickly, there was another change. Dongfang Changfan's speed became slower. His speed fell by 30% compared to earlier. With this, Fang Yuan and Pai Shui Han saw hope. As expected, his burst speed has its limits. F0 low new. Hapters at nov/el/bin/.com. Think about it, that is an immortal killer move. If he could use it for extended periods of time, he would have used it long ago. Maybe his immortal essence was used up. Fang Yuan and Pai Shui Han interacted. They decided to work together for now, to leave Dongfang Changfan no room to escape. They were also worried that if they fought between themselves, at the crucial moment, they might end in failure. But just as they were getting closer to Dongfang Changfan, his body flickered as another figure appeared, turning into a second Dongfang Changfan. This? Fang Yuan was shocked. Pai Shui Han gasped, "Oh no, I've heard long ago that Dongfang Changfan had a split shadow immortal Gu in his hands, to think that it was true." The two bodies had the same aura, they were identical, there was nothing that could differentiate them, they flew off in two different directions. Even though the pursuers were using investigative methods, they could not find any flaws. There was no choice, Fang Yuan and Pai Shui Han could only split up. In the end, not long after Fang Yuan went on his chase, Dongfang Changfan split out another figure and flew towards the left. Fang Yuan was joyful and also worried. This indicated that he had been chasing the right figure, but he did not expect that this old scoundrel Dongfang could create another split shadow. Fang Yuan quickly took out some Dongfang tribe Gu master captives in his immortal aperture, shouting in the same manner again, "Dongfang Changfan, I will kill your tribesmen again." Fang Yuan had used his strength path giant hands earlier to attack the assembly points, he killed large numbers of Dongfang tribesmen. But in this process, he had left a backup plan, he secretly kept a good number of the captives in his immortal aperture. But the two Dongfang Changfans did not pay heed to him, Fang Yuan's plan did not succeed. He could not differentiate them, he could only grit his teeth as he chose the left one randomly, pursuing it. Along the way, in just a short while, Dongfang Changfan created another clone and flew in two directions. Fang Yuan felt anything but reassured in his mind, what should he do now? His immortal essence was almost used up completely, the strength path giant hands could only move slowly, and ordinary mortal killer moves could not even damage Dongfang Changfan's clothes. Chapter 805, A Short Break, Another Battle. Unable to determine the fake, Fang Yuan could only guess and make some baseless choices. Eventually, when it was night, he watched as Dongfang Changfang's body gradually faded and vanished, in its place was a lump of Gu worms. Fang Yuan collected this lump of Gu worms, the split shadow immortal Gu was not inside, instead, there were only some rank 5 Gu worms that were mixed with a heavy immortal Gu aura. I lost him. Only Pai Shui Han's end is left, but the chances are low, most likely, Dongfang Changfan escaped. Sigh, as expected of a legendary character, the leader of a super force, he has so many trump cards. The most pressing matter now is to return to Jade Pool Blessed Land and plunder the final portion of the resources. Fang Yuan swept away his emotions, he immediately flew back. Ch. Ek out L. T. St. V. L. On NOV. L/bin. C. M. Along the way, he contacted Fairy Li Shan and He Lu Lan, but they were still chasing after Minuscule Mountain. They promised him a large amount of compensation if he went to help them out. Fong Yuan fell into a difficult situation with two choices in front of him. One was Jade Pool Blessed Land. It was rich in resources, but such a long time had passed, the other demonic Path Gu immortals might have looted it entirely already. The other was Minuscule Mountain, if he could obtain Minuscule Mountain. He inwardly felt moved. As night descended, the temperature became lower, the night sky was filled with dark clouds, the air was stuffy. A moment later, intense winds blew, it rained while accompanied by thunder and lightning. Dong Fang Chang Fan sat on the ground, his expression was white as chalk, he looked extremely pale. The body that he had just possessed was heavily injured, some injuries were so severe that bones could be seen, his flesh and blood were exposed to the air openly. Dong Fang Chang Fan's aura was weak, he frowned deeply, to think that the possession I underwent caused such a huge and unexpected accident. Indeed, an act of defying heaven incurs the wrath of heaven and earth. Thankfully, towards the end, I gave up Minuscule Mountain and drew some of the enemies away. I also gave up Split Shadow Immortal Gu to escape successfully. At once, Dong Fang Chang Fan felt lingering fear, relief, joy, solemnness, sadness, and hatred. All of these complex emotions were mixing together. The injuries on my body are just a small matter, they are not fatal. The important thing is to get rid of the internal threat. The immortal essence I accumulated was mostly used on possession. After this battle, they have been consumed entirely, the battle of wills is my only chance at defeating these 9 wills. Dong Fang Chang Fan thought over it, he shut his eyes and entered a state of meditation. In truth, with his current terrible situation, he had no other options. He was at his wit's end, he was like a long river that had dried up until the riverbed was exposed. To be able to escape from the pursuers in this state and survive, it was truly nothing short of a miracle. Right now, if he hesitated slightly, or refused to undergo the battle of wills, his control over this body would be completely lost. He might as well engage in the battle of wills now while he still had some foundation and mental energy, by converting all of his remaining mental energy into his own will army. The battle of wills was vicious, it did not concern one's cultivation level, only the wills in themselves. But Dong Fang Chang Fan had no other method now, he had to do this. His will rose from his mind, it instantly converted all of his foundation into a huge stream. The huge stream flew out of his mind, it was like a waterfall from the 9 heavens, pouring down from above. With an immense force, it charged towards all of the other wills in the body. Fight! Let's fight together, that old scoundrel's will is stronger than any of ours. We have to cooperate, that is the only chance we have at winning. The wills of Dong Fang tribe's 8 Gu immortals, as well as Dong Fang Yu Liang's will, joined forces, they resisted Dong Fang Chang Fan's will. A total of 10 wills mixed together, fighting chaotically. Both sides had no alternatives now, if they took a step back, they would fall into the abyss of failure, their existence would be wiped out. This, from the start, was a battle to the death. Both sides were equally matched, but a moment later, Dong Fang Chang Fan's will was at a disadvantage. While fighting with the band of demons, Dong Fang Chang Fan had only been suppressing the wills forcefully, he did not find out how troublesome they were to deal with. Only now when they fought, he realized that these wills were tough as iron, they were as firm as steel. All of them bore deep hatred towards Dong Fang Chang Fan. Dong Fang Chang Fan, you deceived us, you betrayed us. For your own selfish desire, you killed all of us, just for your own sake. Old and scheming, we were all wrong about you, you only treated us as your pawns. If you want to kill us, don't think of surviving either. Die together, we will die together. It was you, you harmed us, you harmed the entirety of Dongfang tribe. Right now, Jade Pool Blessed Land is being looted by the band of demons, nothing is left of thousands of years of management from our tribe. These wills shouted, with great anguish, they formed into a tide and attacked from everywhere in the body. Dongfang Changfan's will was forced back, he quickly squeezed back into the mind. The mind was Dongfang Changfan's final base. Once these wills broke through it, even if Dongfang Changfan's soul was intact, he would have no way of winning, defeat was imminent. Impressive, impressive. These wills have the resolve to die, they are overwhelmed with rage due to betrayal, and most importantly, due to the heavenly tribulation's influence, they were strengthened in an unspeakable way. At this moment, Dongfang Changfan could feel deep animosity from heaven and earth. He walked on a path that defied heaven, he tried to revive himself, the terrifying backlash caused him to be at death's doors again, if he took a step back, it would be the abyss of failure. But Dongfang Changfan was not flustered under such crisis. In fact, the more dangerous this situation became, the more his fighting spirit was stirred. In his life, he had always gone against the norm, ever since he started his cultivation and led his tribe to prosperity, he had overcome countless difficulties, he had endured immense pressure, and defeated numerous foes. This time, my enemy is this world itself, even if my body dies of old age, and my soul shrivels, my will is never going to submit. Dongfang Changfan understood, in a battle of wills, he could not feel discouraged or relaxed, he could not waver in the slightest. Not only did he not waver, he was more determined now, his fighting spirit soared as his battle strength surged in this battle of wills. This was the spirit that he had nurtured after countless trials and obstacles, he would never yield. The fighting spirit to resist until the very end was engraved into his bones. At once, the counter-attack of his will began, it swept down from the mind, pushing down forcefully. The two sides were fighting using Dongfang Yuliang's body as the battlefield. Dongfang Yuliang's head was Dongfang Changfan's headquarters. Even though he was almost forced back in by the 9 wills, right now, his will was charging down from his headquarters, down the neck, all the way to his chest. The Gu Immortals' wills became even more furious, they defended together, like a tortoise shell, they had a strong defense at the chest, refusing to move backwards. The battle of wills went into a stalemate. The 8 Gu Immortal wills were defending Dongfang Yuliang's will, they were like 8 thick shields protecting him. Dongfang Yuliang's will was growing in quantity. Out of the 10 wills, only Dongfang Changfan and Dongfang Yuliang's wills could recover and grow. This was because the former had undergone possession, his soul was in this body and he occupied the mind, he could replenish his will from this source. The latter was the original owner of the body was most compatible with him. The entire body was Dongfang Yuliang's base, as long as his body was not destroyed, his will could recover. The key to victory in this intense and dangerous battle of wills was in Dongfang Yuliang and Dongfang Changfan, the wills of this pair of master and disciple. Compared to them, even though the 8 Gu Immortals' wills were strong and abundant, they had no source to replenish themselves. They knew this clearly, thus they chose to sacrifice themselves and protect Dongfang Yuliang's will, to allow him to grow stronger. Oh no, I purposely left the injuries on my body and did not heal them, I wanted to slow down Dongfang Yuliang's recovery speed. But if we continue this, my will is going to be expended continuously, while Dongfang Yuliang's will is recovering and growing. Thinking of this, Dongfang Changfan became calmer and even colder. He knew that at this rate, he would definitely die. By now, he had to bet with his life, to use his will to influence the other wills, and destroy them from the inside. This method was the fiercest, and also the most dangerous one. But I have no choice, then let's do it. Dongfang Changfan shouted, all of his will that had been gathered together broke apart, it flowed like a river as it swallowed the other 9 wills, engulfing them. The contest of the mind, a battle of willpower, everyone's perseverance had led to the final clash at this moment. The hatred of murder is irreconcilable. The Gu immortals' wills shouted. My Dongfang tribe was destroyed in your hands. Dongfang Yuliang was extremely furious. Dongfang Changfan's will was calm. As long as I am alive, I can lead Dongfang tribe back to its glorious days. Do you think I am not anguished? Do you remember the story in the Legends of Renzu? In order to walk out of ordinary abyss, Renzu abandoned even his own daughter. How can you say he abandoned her? It was self-Gu which caused trouble. Dongfang Yuliang's will rebuked. Dongfang Changfan sneered coldly, whose self-Gu is that? That is Renzu's self-Gu. Those were Renzu's deepest thoughts. In order to stop being ordinary, it was not a problem if one sacrificed their wives or children, let alone merely the tribe. As a dirty and despicable person, whatever you see is dirty and despicable. The Gu immortals' wills shouted back angrily. Enough. Without me, Dongfang Changfan, Dongfang tribe would have perished or been annexed long ago. Would you have been able to reach this point? Would Dongfang tribe be as glorious and prosperous without me? I nurtured you all, I taught you, I gave you your achievements. I planted this tree, this was my achievement, and you? You were just sitting in the shade of my tree, eating the fruits of my labor. Such words were like thunder, dealing a huge blow to the 9 wills. The Gu immortals' wills were in a torrential wave, they could only be swept along. All of the scenes in his life were playing in reverse, they quickly filled Dongfang Changfan's mind. In Jade Pool Blessed Land, while engaging with the band of demons, the battle that was perilous and fatal. The heavenly tribulation and earthly calamity, his stubborn resistance, all to undergo possession. At the moment of life and death, his ambition that did not waver, his vision of the sky that turned dark. Deducing the location of immortal Gu for all of the righteous path Gu immortals, establishing the alliance agreement. In a dark and gloomy hall, he sat alone as he made up his mind to defy heaven. He sneered, even if you prevent me from obtaining lifespan Gu, so what? If heaven wants me to die, then I will defy heaven. Chapter 806, Outcome concluded, turning around and leaving. Dongfang Changfan's recollection continued. The heavenly tribulation and earthly calamity slowly ended. He was covered in injuries. Dongfang tribe's newly advanced Gu immortal was paying respects to him in the air. Thank you for your assistance, First Supreme Elder. He himself was stroking his beard. He, that you can advance to Gu immortal is my greatest wish. Now, our Dongfang tribe has strengthened again. The battle ended in defeat, the righteous path Gu immortals were sighing to themselves. Oh, Dongfang tribe cannot be suppressed. Fighting alone against 5, he really did it. This wisdom path killer move will definitely become renowned in Northern Plains. What is this move? Starlight filled the sky, it was shining in brilliance, he stood in the air proudly as he laughed. This move is called Myriad Star Fireflies. In this world, there are only eternal benefits, there are no eternal enemies or friends. I have found out a thing or two about the arrangements that you in Central Continent have been planning in Northern Plains. Dongfang tribe is being ostracized by the righteous path. To turn this situation around, how can a single Gu immortal like me succeed? My aspiration is to promote my tribe and bring glory to our name. I am certain that you can sense my sincerity. He said calmly. Humph, you are just a poor Gu immortal, on what basis can you cooperate with Immortal Crane sect? I have a lifespan extension method for Gu immortals, it is named Possession, and it was created by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. What? Is that true? 88 True Yang Building, True Inheritance Secluded Domain. He was coughing blood, escaping pathetically among the array of flying True Inheritance meteors, it was like a web of death. But in the end, even after all his scheming, he did not get what he wanted. He smiled bitterly. Forget it, I cannot force this anymore, I will choose you. When he was young. Spare me. The opponent who brought him shame was kneeling on the ground, begging for mercy. You should not be like this. He shook his head slowly, sighing. I was blind, I was too daring, please spare me, young Master Dongfang. His opponent sprawled on the ground, begging pitifully. If your attitude was more firm, and you were unmoved in the face of death, I would definitely have spared your dog life. But now. He attacked abruptly, dealing a fatal blow. The head flew up and landed on the ground, it rolled for a short distance. Dying with a lingering grievance. He turned around and left, too disappointing, why did I lose to a person like you back then? And also, that fortuitous encounter. Young man, what is your name? The old beggar asked warmly, his hair was purple and messy, it was like uncut grass. Dongfang Changfan. He said. Changfan, this name is very incompatible with you. The purple-haired beggar's eyes were dark like the abyss, he could see his own shadow from within them. The beggar looked at him for a while before saying, You are a good child, I will pass my most important inheritance to you. I believe that without any unexpected surprises, you will definitely make a name for yourself. Dongfang tribe, Meng tribe, and Gong tribe, these three super forces had gathered for a fighting competition. He was kneeling on the ground, in utter defeat. His opponent mocked him, ha ha ha, Dongfang Guangyao, you want to bring honor to your tribe? Your Dongfang tribe is going to be history. You only have one dying old Gu immortal left. In some years, your Dongfang tribe will be kicked out from the ranks of super forces. This is good too, as someone who shares the same bloodline of Giant Sun as you, I feel deeply ashamed for all of you. You. He was staring with wide-opened eyes, he struggled to get up. Under everyone's gazes, his opponent walked up and stepped on his head in the arena. Ha ha ha, Dongfang Guangyao, according to the rules of our battle, you have to promise me one thing. I really hate your name, it does not suit you. I'll give you a new name, for the rest of your life, you will use this name. Let's go with Dongfang Changfan. He, this suits you better. His opponent said in a mocking tone. He clenched his fists, his eyes were bright red, anger was exploding in his body, almost bursting his blood vessels. But he was too weak. Okay, from today onwards, I will change my name to Dongfang Changfan. He squeezed these words out reluctantly. Ha ha ha, obedient, good. Did everyone hear that? From now on, he will be called Dongfang Changfan. His opponent raised his feet and walked away. He was sprawled on the ground, his injuries were severe, he could not move. But in his heart, he screamed, Even if I change my name to Dongfang Changfan, I will become extraordinary, I will be able to move freely and unhindered over the world, I will manipulate the masses. I swear, I will definitely take revenge for this with my own hands. In this life, I will lead Dongfang tribe back to its glorious days. This is my aspiration, the aspiration of Dongfang Changfan, heaven and earth can bear witness to it. The 9 wills that were engulfed experienced Dongfang Changfan's entire life in this instant. At once, they understood Dongfang Changfan, they understood that deep within his heart, he was greatly anguished by the death of his tribesmen, from the loss of Jade Pool blessed land. This man, Dongfang Changfan. Even if we are enemies, I must say this, incredible. Fine, to lose to a person like this, it is not a dishonor. Dongfang tribe, in your hands, maybe it would rise up again. Master. The 9 wills conceded, some faded, even if some still resisted, they were engulfed by Dongfang Changfan's will. My name may be Dongfang Changfan, but in this life, I refuse to be ordinary. If a tree collapses, I will plant a new one. Everyone, give me time. I swear, I will definitely take revenge for this with my own hands. In this life, I will lead Dongfang tribe back to its glorious days. This is my aspiration, the aspiration of Dongfang Changfan, heaven and earth can bear witness to it. This will's voice sounded like a clap of thunder from the outside world. Under this will, the 9 wills collapsed, they no longer resisted him, they vanished into nothingness. The battle of wills was extremely perilous, but he won in the end. Dongfang Changfan opened his eyes slowly, they were flickering with countless crystal lights. His eyes opened wide, he realized that out of nowhere, a black-robed Gu immortal was in front of him. It was Fang Yuan. How did you find me? Dongfang Changfan calmed down, although he seemed exhausted, he was extremely calm, it was as if he still had some sort of trump card. Fang Yuan chuckled, I guessed it, I chased after your split shadow and lost you. Just when I was about to leave, I had a thought, earlier when you killed Xianxia, the situation was too strange. After checking the traces, I realized that you had dug an underground cavern not far away and hid here. It was all luck. This is not luck. Dongfang Changfan shook his head slowly, my immortal killer move could create 30 split shadows, but they did not waste much of your time. I purposely left Xianxia's corpse alone and intentionally let his immortal Gu fly away, the traces were obvious but you did not go after them. The most dangerous place is the safest place. Above this cavern, there is an ordinary pink flower rabbit den, but that did not deceive you. Your intelligence is far scarier than your strength. It is really strange, why did you cultivate strength path instead of wisdom path? Fang Yuan's lips twitched, are these the final words of praise from a dying person? Dongfang Changfan shook his head again, he smiled faintly, it is a pity that you came slightly late. If you were earlier, even by a few breaths' time, I would still be in the battle of wills, it would be extremely dangerous and I would not have time to resist you. But now. Dongfang Changfan dragged out his words, he showed immense confidence in his expression. As expected of the number 1 wisdom path immortal in Northern Plains. Fang Yuan saw this and praised. His tone was calm, there was no killing intent as he said warmly, like he was talking to a good friend, man proposes, heaven disposes, if this method fails, I will leave immediately and acknowledge your superior strength, retreating from you in the future should we meet again. Saying so, he took out a person from his immortal aperture. This was a young girl. Having a delicate body and watery eyes, she wore a light yellow dress, she looked extremely gentle. This was Dongfang Qingyu. When Fang Yuan used the strength path giant hands to capture Dongfang tribesmen, he unexpectedly found her, secretly keeping her in his immortal aperture. Seeing this girl, Dong Fong Chong Fan's expression changed. In an instant, even this body started reacting. The will in the body that was nearly dispersed became firm as ever, it rose up and instantly regained control. "Sister!" he shouted. But soon, even though it was just a breath's time, Dong Fong Yu Liang's will was suppressed again. Dong Fong Chong Fan regained control, his eyes were spewing fire as he looked at Fong Yuan with much anger. Fong Yuan laughed heartily, he assessed the situation as he said, "Dong Fong Yu Liang, your sister is in my hands, watch closely." Saying so, he stretched out his monstrous zombie hand and grabbed at the young girl's left shoulder, pulling. Crack! Dong Fong Qin Yu's body shook, before she let out a shrill scream. Her entire left arm was ripped off, the huge wound was spewing blood. Dong Fong Chong Fan's pupils shrunk until they were pin-sized, he shouted angrily, "Damn it!" Before he finished his words, he lost control again. Dong Fong Yuliang emerged. "Sister! I will kill you, you dare to harm her, you actually dare to harm her." Dong Fong Yuliang screamed intensely, he had gone into madness, tears were bursting out from his eyes. "Good, this is how it should be." Fong Yuan laughed sinisterly, the strength path giant hand flew out. The giant hand was about to grab Dong Fong Yuliang, when a light pillar burst out from his body. The light pillar stopped the strength path giant hand. Dong Fong Chong Fan screamed with much fear and anger, "A Grand Gu immortal going as far as to do this to a mortal, you are so despicable." Fong Yuan raised his head and laughed, his monstrous claw impacted. With a loud sound, he pressed Dong Fong Qin Yu's head into her chest completely. "Sister!" Dong Fong Yu Liang screamed at the top of his lungs, this was the most cruel blow he had ever suffered in his life. Dong Fong Chong Fan lost control, the defensive light pillar scattered. Boom! Fong Yuan grabbed with his hand, and Dong Fong Yu Liang's body was smashed into meat paste. Dong Fong Chong Fan's soul wanted to escape, but he had just gone through an intense battle, his soul was severely weakened, how could he escape? Fong Yuan easily caught him. The inheritance of the number 1 wisdom path immortal in Northern Plains was obtained. An intense shock wave burst out, once the Gu immortal died, the immortal aperture would land on the ground, forming an ownerless blessed land. Fong Yuan had expected this, he used his methods and concealed this shock wave to the best of his ability. He squinted as he watched the blessed land form, he did not intrude it forcefully. When the blessed land was placed down completely, Fong Yuan let out a breath of turbid air, as he gave it a deep glance before turning around and leaving. Chapter 807, People Who Refuse to be Ordinary. Chapter 3, Section 18 states. Ren Zhu stepped on his own road of life, he left the door of life and death, but ended up in ordinary abyss. He walked around in the bottom of the abyss, moving forward aimlessly, after a long time, even though he wanted to get out of ordinary abyss, he could not find the exit. In his anguish, Cognition Gu gave him pointers, "Human, oh human, you walked in the footsteps of other existences, although this road is simple and safe, if you want to become extraordinary, and walk out of ordinary abyss, there is little hope if you follow other people's trails. Since you walked on your own road of life, all the difficulties need to be challenged by you personally, you need to innovate and carve out your own footprints." After Ren Zhu received this advice, he came to a realization, he was overjoyed as he followed Cognition Gu's instructions. He walked out of the footsteps that already existed, he started to step on the ground that was not too firm. The ground of ordinary abyss was not easy to walk on. Some places were swampy, it was easy to get stuck in the mud, and the stench was foul. Some places were full of thorns, sharp pointy tips were everywhere, Ren Zhu was full of injuries. In some parts of the ground, there were also blade Gu. When Renzu stepped on the ground, his soles were injured by the sharp blades, his injuries became larger as blood flowed. When he walked, the pain could be felt striking deep within himself. The injuries on his feet caused huge pain. Renzu decided to walk softly. But as he walked, Renzu lost his way in ordinary abyss. Many times, he would end up on the same route, and waste extra effort traversing the same path. Renzu gradually found out this problem. He was perplexed. How could he not lose his way in the abyss? Cognition Gu told him, Renzu, if you do not want to lose your way, that is entirely up to you. You were afraid of pain, thus you walked softly, the footprints you created were too shallow. When ordinary winds blow in this ordinary abyss, mortal dust will be blown out, and when the dust settles, your footprints will be covered up. If you do not want to lose your way, you have to leave behind deep footprints. Do you understand what I am saying? Renzu nodded, he understood. Thus, he started to walk using heavy steps. Each time, he stepped hard onto the ground, creating a deep footprint. This way, every step he walked would have a deep and clear marking left by him. As long as Renzu saw these markings, he would know that these routes were already explored, and that there was no exit to ordinary abyss there. But good things did not last. After a while, even the deepest footprints would be covered up by the dust. Renzu was extremely troubled. He asked Cognition Gu. Cognition Gu gave him another suggestion. O human, even though you left deep footprints, you purposely avoided those thorns and blades. Every time you saw them, you would take a detour. This will not do. You cannot ask to be extraordinary while leading a comfortable life. Renzu got the hint and gritted his teeth. He purposely walked on the paths filled with thorns and blades. Every time he took a step, he would leave a deep footprint behind, no matter how painful it was, no matter how deep the scar was. His sweat and blood seeped into the ordinary soil as he stepped heavily into it. When he left his foot and moved forward, on his footprint, there would be a small stem of grass. The name of this grass was accomplishment. In each of his footprints, there would be a small stem of grass. The stems of grass did not fall when the wind blew. They could not be buried under dust. They grow stubbornly and could be preserved for much longer than the footprints. This way, I would not need to be afraid of losing my way. Renzu was overjoyed. He gritted his teeth and endured the pain. He tenaciously walked on a road filled with thorns and blades. He was not afraid of bleed or perspiring. He walked further and further. He no longer lost his way. He no longer walked in circles. He went into uncharted territories. He used his blood and sweat to nourish the grass under him. They started growing with more vitality and became taller. Gradually, it was no longer grass that grew from his footprints. They had turned into accomplishment trees. As time passed, the small trees grew into larger trees. The leaves were lush and green. They were even bearing fruits. Renzu was tired from walking. He leaned on a tree for rest. He ate the sweet and juicy fruits to recover his stamina. As time passed, he had almost walked in every corner of ordinary abyss. He created a huge forest spanning everywhere he had traveled. Renzu looked at the forest behind him and felt bliss and joy, but even when the forest covered the entirety of ordinary abyss, he did not find the way out of it. He felt anxious and disappointed. He plucked one fruit and put it in his mouth. The fruit no longer tasted sweet. Instead, it was bitter and hard to swallow. Renzu felt strange. He tried to find the reason and realized, unknowingly, there had been a second heart growing in his body. This heart was called discontent. With this, anything that he ate would not taste sweet. Renzu ate the bitter fruit as he looked at the boundless forest. He no longer felt joy or bliss. At this time, his original heart, the heart of loneliness, spoke in Self Gu's voice, "O human, I have thought about a way to leave the abyss. You can plant a tall and grand accomplishment tree. As long as this tree is taller than ordinary abyss, you will be able to leave this place by climbing onto this tree. Renzu thought about it and his eyes shined. That's right, that is a good idea. But he was troubled again. But how can I plant a tree that is so grand, taller than ordinary abyss? Gu said, you used the blood from your feet to plant this forest, these are all ordinary trees. If you use the blood from your heart, you should be able to plant a great accomplishment tree. Buried under the ground of ordinary abyss are many blades. Why don't you use these blades to stab into your heart? The heart blood that flows out can be used to water the trees. Renzu tried the method that Gu said. The blade stabbed into his heart, it caused an immense pain. This pain was hundreds and thousands of times greater than the ones in his body. Eventually, the trees that were watered grew tall and large, they were much larger than the original trees. Renzu felt pain but also joy. He continued to stab more blades into his heart, causing more heart blood to flow out. The more blades he stabbed, the more heart blood flowed out, and the larger the trees he planted. But even the tallest accomplishment tree was only half the height of ordinary abyss. Renzu continued to persevere, as Gu accompanied him. When the crown of the tree he planted reached the same height as ordinary abyss, the trunk of the tree cracked open. Inside, a girl came out. Father, father. The girl went into Renzu's embrace. She was very adorable. This was Renzu's fourth child, called Boundless Forest Samsara. Renzu was also overjoyed. He played around with his daughter. When Boundless Forest Samsara was hungry, he would get her fruits to eat. So sweet, so sweet. Boundless Forest Samsara loved to eat fruits. She became healthy and well-fed. She played in the forest every day, feeling immense joy. Renzu still wanted to walk out of the ordinary abyss. Boundless Forest Samsara urged him many times, Father, why must you exhaust yourself? Isn't staying here great? There are trees to shelter us, fruits to feed us, we can play here forever, life will be peaceful until we die of old age. Renzu shook his head, his attitude was firm. He planted an even greater tree and the branches of the trees left ordinary abyss completely. Boundless Forest Samsara cried. She held on to Renzu's hands as she pleaded, Father, don't abandon me. I cannot climb trees. If you go, I will be left here alone. I do not know how to plant trees, there are limited fruits, one day, I will die of hunger. Renzu said, why would I abandon you? You are my daughter, I will carry you and leave this place. Thus, the father and daughter climbed the tree. The higher they went, the more exhausted Renzu felt. Boundless Forest Samsara was a heavy burden. Even without her, climbing the tree alone was very dangerous, not to mention carrying a person who could not climb the tree at all. Vischten. Velben.c. M for new updates. The bigger problem was, the tree started wavering and making cracking noises. Cognition Gu told Renzu, oh no, Renzu, you are carrying your daughter, it is impossible to get out of ordinary abyss. This is your accomplishment tree, it cannot help others become extraordinary, even your daughter is no exception. Renzu shook his head, I do not want to give up. Gu also urged him, put her down, otherwise, you cannot leave this place. Even though you have the hearts of loneliness and discontent, after planting so many trees, your heart blood is already dry. This is your last hope. Look, the tree is about to collapse. Renzu waved his hand, I still want to try. Gu saw that Renzu was stubborn from his actions, and seeing that the other Gu worms failed to convince him, it flew out. Ah, this is killing me. Gu did not discuss with Renzu, it bit on Boundless Forest Samsara's hand. Boundless Forest Samsara shouted in pain, she was furious, she wanted to kill Gu. But this way, she let go of her hands. With the shaking tree, she fell off Renzu's back, crashing and tumbling. After breaking her fall from many branches, she landed on the ground. She was in great pain as she started crying. "Daughter!" Renzu shouted, wanting to go down. "It's too late, the tree is going to fall." Gu pushed Renzu. He took a huge step forward subconsciously. He left ordinary abyss. The tree fell. Renzu was at the edge of the cliff. He lost the way back. He shouted helplessly, "Daughter, I will return to save you." Boundless Forest Samsara cried. She said with much sadness and helplessness, "Father, how could you be so cruel to leave me behind to live here alone? I am so scared." Renzu heard her cries and felt extremely anguished. He checked around ordinary abyss, but could not find a way in. "It is no use." Gu said, "Your accomplishment tree, even if it has fallen, is proof of your grandeur. A grand person is extraordinary. How can a person who is not ordinary enter ordinary abyss? Who immortal blessed land, Dang Hun Palace." Fong Yuan closed in his hands. He sighed as he had a complex expression. Water flowed downwards, while humans moved towards higher ground. Discontented with being ordinary, this was a normal human trait. Dong Fong Chang Fan was like this. Fong Yuan was also like this. "In this aspect, you and I are the same type of people," Fong Yuan said plainly. In front of him, Dong Fong Chang Fan's soul was restrained. He was smiling coldly now as he tried to speak, but because he lost his body, he could not make a sound. However, the resonance caused by his soul was captured by Fong Yuan. He heard the number one wisdom path Gu immortal in Northern Plains say, "If you want to search my soul, go ahead. But to receive my inheritance, it is harder than you think." Chapter 808, Unyielding Spirit, More Soul Searching. "Oh. You are so confident." Fong Yuan smiled. Dong Fong Chang Fan's soul had already become his captive and his life or death was held in Fong Yuan's hands, but he still had such confidence. Fong Yuan, however, was unconcerned and started soul searching. For a moment, Dang Hun Palace was shrouded in darkness. Cold wind blew and ghostly cries could be heard lingering in one's ears. In the bleak and strange wind, Fong Yuan revealed his original appearance, a towering immortal zombie body in a greenish-black color. A malevolent appearance, sharp fangs, blood-red eyes, 8 arms that stretched out with their sharp and large monstrous claws, one slowly moving towards Dong Fong Chang Fan's soul. Dong Fong Chang Fan's soul involuntarily wavered for a moment at Fong Yuan's vicious appearance, but it shortly calmed down and let Fong Yuan's claw grab it. A soul was not corporeal, but Fong Yuan's claws firmly grabbed on to Dong Fong Chang Fan's soul. Afterwards, he activated certain goo worms in his immortal aperture. Soul Search. A formless force emitted from the monstrous claw to Dong Fong Chang Fan's soul. Dong Fong Chang Fan's soul immediately started trembling from the bursts of pain that were assaulting it. The soul search ended after a while. Fong Yuan pulled back his claw and let go of Dong Fong Chang Fan's soul. He was able to plunder much information, but his brows furrowed slightly. There was a lot of information obtained by him, but none of it was of importance. Dong Fong Chang Fan's soul turned dull and looser, no longer having the firm compactness and luster from before. However, it revealed a satisfied expression as it resonated, sending its message. In Fong Yuan's ears, he heard Dong Fong Chang Fan's soul snickering, "Do you realize now? I might be a wisdom path Gu immortal, but soul path and wisdom path are closely connected to each other. I have also delved into soul path, modifying my immortal soul. Your soul-searching method is only a mortal technique. That said, even if you had soul path immortal Gu, I can conceal the information you want." After a brief pause, Dong Fong Chang Fan continued, right now, I don't have a physical body, my soul would not receive nourishment. The more you soul search, the more my soul will be consumed. I have plenty of experiences, I can conceal the information up to the moment my soul completely disappears, you simply won't be able to plunder my wisdom path inheritance or my possession technique. He then changed the topic, but we can make a deal. I will give you my wisdom path inheritance, possession technique and other information. You would assist in my rebirth by finding a physical body for me. Don't worry, I only need a mortal Gu master. Since I lost to you, I have to admit my defeat. We can set up an oath, Fairy Li Shan fought together with you, if you don't believe me, you should believe in Mountain Pledge Gu, right? Fang Yuan smiled, truly worthy of Dong Fang Chang Fan, even in this state, you still haven't given up and want to make a comeback. It's a pity that I have soul strengthening method and can take all the time I need to slowly search your soul. Sooner or later, I will get what I want. Soul strengthening method? He. Dong Fang Chang Fan's soul chuckled, it seems that you don't have a great amount of understanding regarding soul path. I intentionally remodeled my soul for the possession. It increased my chances of succeeding in possession, but also led to normal methods being useless in nourishing and healing my soul, unless you use immortal healing methods. What I am saying is not a lie, you can try as much as you want. Oh. Is that so? The faint smile on Fang Yuan's face faded as he took out Airsac Gu. As far as Dong Fang Chang Fan was concerned, since Fang Yuan's soul-searching method was only at mortal level, his soul-healing methods should also be ordinary. He was even more sure of his estimation when he saw Fang Yuan pull out a mortal Gu. However, when Fang Yuan broke the Airsac Gu and also crumbled the guts Gu contained within, Dong Fang Chang Fan's soul immediately received nourishment, his soul regained part of its compactness and luster. Discover EW chapters at Novelby. Co. What is this Gu? It is only a mortal Gu, but it can heal my soul. For a moment, Dong Fang Chang Fan's soul intensely shook, showing an astonished look. Fang Yuan relaxed when he saw this, and smiled, guess. Dong Fang Chang Fan was an extraordinary character, even if only his soul remained, his intelligence was still there. The soul calmed down before resonating shortly after, at the mortal level, there is only one thing that can influence my immortal soul, Dang Hun Mountain's Guts Gu. What you crushed just now should be Airsac Gu bought from Treasure Yellow Heaven. Astute. But you only got it half right. Airsac Gu is my creation and the Guts Gu business is also mine. What? It's you. Dong Fang Chang Fan's soul blurted out, the cruel reality striking at it fiercely. The soul did not resonate anymore, sinking into deathly silence. Dong Fang Chang Fan was filled with despair, he knew he was truly done for this time by landing in the hands of someone like Fang Yuan. He was like meat on the chopping block, Fang Yuan could butcher him whenever he wanted. And Dong Fang Chang Fan's soul would not be able to change the situation even if he resisted. After using Guts Gu to heal Dong Fang Chang Fan's soul completely, Fang Yuan continued to soul search. Dong Fang Chang Fan resisted extremely hard, thus the information Fang Yuan obtained was useless for the most part. However, no matter how strong the resistance was, it could not withstand the increasing numbers of soul-searching attempts. Finally, valuable information was obtained by Fang Yuan bit by bit. After spending a long while, Fang Yuan put an end to the soul-searching, and pieced together the valuable information among them, forming into detailed information about the resources in Jade Pool Blessed Land. Jade Pool Blessed Land contains 3 large Gu breeding grounds. Regretful spiders are ranked at the second while the one with the largest scale are large cave toads. Their numbers are 3 times that of the regretful spiders with extremely large numbers of rank 5 large cave toad Gu. but Dongfang tribe left them behind in order to induce the creation of an immortal-level large cave-toad Gu. Truly a big ambition. In the far east of Jade Pool Blessed Land, there is a pool which looks ordinary but connects to deep underground. Inside lives a desolate beast horse, a rarely seen 10,000 Li Ji horse. This horse has vigorous life force and is extremely useful. Not only is every part of it immortal Gu refinement material, if it is raised underground for a long time, its sweat after dropping on the ground will gradually grow into a Ji forest. One 10,000 Li Ji horse can mean the endless creation of Ji forests. Oh! There is this kind of salt bed as well. Amazing, using the ancient desolate beast gray life jellyfish to guard and condense the salinity, forming into a giant salt bed that can produce an immortal material, profound gray salt. A salt bed that specifically produces profound gray salt, truly a great move. Jade Pool Blessed Land also changes between day and night. After 3 days of a bright sky, there is a day of dark night. After the night descends, some areas of Jade Pool Blessed Land will crack and split, revealing 2 deep pools that were underground. One is a jade pool which, although not big, is filled with an immortal material, desolate jade. Another is Canine Pool, in which the walls and bottom are formed from the polished teeth of an immemorial desolate beast Qilin. Under moonlight, it will create moon fangs. This immortal material is like teeth but is as soft as water, moonlight shines from its surface constantly and it is extremely precious. Besides this, there is also an ancient desolate beast flying frost antelope, an immortal material hidden underground called Hidden Dragon Beard, the immortal material wind whistling bronze inside bronze pool. Dongfang Changfan was Dongfang tribe's first supreme elder, and naturally was extremely aware of the distribution of resources in Jade Pool Blessed Land. Fang Yuan was greatly moved as he browsed through these pieces of information, and had the impulse to make a trip to Jade Pool Blessed Land to plunder the goods. But he restrained this impulse. During this evening in Northern Plains, he had killed Dongfang Changfan and captured his soul before moving towards Jade Pool Blessed Land to plunder it again. However, when he reached the Blessed Land, he discovered the fires of combat raging, intense battles were everywhere around him. Dozens of righteous and demonic Path Gu immortals were plundering and fighting like they had gone mad, the situation was extremely heated. Fang Yuan had used up a lot of his immortal essence and also had to conceal himself, add in that he was alone, with Fairy Li Shan and He Lu Lan chasing after minuscule mountain, and also had attracted old Lord Qin Yang's suspicion, he sensibly chose to leave. A sharp light flashed past Fang Yuan's eyes. Jade Pool Blessed Land is like a piece of large juicy meat right now, which is stirring all the Gu immortals up, luring them towards it. Forget it, I might have rank 7 battle strength, but my movement and defense aspects are rather inferior, and the situation is also not that good. Dongfang Changfan is still plotting against me. Intentionally exposing this information to me to make me tread into the muddy water that is Jade Pool Blessed Land. Fang Yuan's situation was quite bad, it seemed that he was safe, but there were dangers lurking everywhere. He was the main culprit for the collapse of 88 Truyang building, and was being actively searched for by all forces. Sha Huang was a false identity of his, but it was exposed shortly after the auction. Dragon Commander Yi Cha had suffered losses from Feng Jiuji's group, and had started to investigate Sha Huang. Fang Yuan currently did not dare to go to Zombie Alliance. In this trip to seize the Wisdom Path inheritance, Fang Yuan had further exposed many things, giving more clues for his enemies to deduce. But this risk was necessary. If I just sit by passively, I will be exposed sooner or later. The only correct path is to fight vigorously and make every second count in order to strengthen myself. I was able to obtain a complete Wisdom Path inheritance in this trip. Ever since I connected luck, my luck has been rather good, I only need to seize the opportunities that come. When I grasp this wisdom path inheritance, I should be able to take precautions against wisdom path deductions. With this, I will be able to try to find a way out by arranging plans, and greatly delay the time before I am exposed while continuing to hide. Fang Yuan resisted the temptation of Jade Pool Blessed Land, and rested for a while. Soul searching could injure the target's soul and the soul would need to be healed. But even to the user, soul searching could make their soul become extremely agitated, and this could not be healed by Daoist Gu, but rather required rest and sleep to pacify the soul. After resting, Fang Yuan continued soul searching. Dong Fang Changfan's soul felt an icy chill when he saw Fang Yuan was still here and was not tempted by Jade Pool Blessed Land. Fang Yuan's soul searching lasted for a long while this time. Dong Fang Changfan's resisted even more intensely, while Fang Yuan's soul search was only a mortal method, increasing the difficulty sharply. However, Fang Yuan was very patient. If one time did not work, he would try 10 times, 100 times. After a long time spent soul searching, Fang Yuan obtained the memory of Dong Fang Changfan remodeling the immemorial ruined bat's corpse. Not only did he obtain the method of enslaving phantom beasts, but also the secret of turning a normal Gu formation into a phantom formation. No matter which piece of information, they all had enormous value. Chapter 809, Arranging Three Treasures, Earthly Calamity Descends Soon. Fang Yuan did not conceal the joy on his face. Making a Gu formation turn phantom is something that Dong Fang Changfan himself deduced and polished from some ancient texts. His phantom path attainment should be at master level. He was able to remodel the immemorial ruined bat's corpse into a corpse mountain, which means his space path attainment was also at master level. He truly was not a simple character. Fang Yuan was especially interested in the method of controlling the phantom beast army. Several desolate-level phantom beasts, although they might only be at rank 6, but relying on their ability to turn into phantom, they could pester a rank 7 Gu immortal. Fang Yuan could not help but think that if he had a group of phantom beasts, his battle strength was sure to rise by a large degree. After careful consideration, he discovered the method of controlling the phantom beast army did not have a wide range of applications. The main condition was to remodel the immemorial ruined bat's corpse into a corpse mountain. Afterwards, with the corpse mountain as the base, it needed to use the immemorial ruined bat's power to control this phantom beast army. Fang Yuan coldly snorted, "This is Dong Fang Changfan's attempt at trying to harm me again. He knows I can uproot mountains, thus he wanted to use the ruined bat corpse mountain to lure me to take a risk." The ruined bat corpse mountain was mostly destroyed by the heavenly tribulation and earthly calamity. With its aura gone, it would no longer deter beasts. That area should already be filled with many desolate and ancient desolate beasts feasting on the ruined bat's corpse. It would be a stupid move to use Pulling Mountain to snatch food from these desolate and ancient desolate beasts. Fang Yuan rested for a while before soul-searching Dong Fang Changfan for the third time. Dong Fang Changfan was filled with fury and hatred for Fang Yuan. It was this man that made all his schemes turn into nothing, destroying his grand plan of dominance and turning all his efforts into naught, as if they were a dream. Despite his foresight and wisdom, he had fallen so far that he had nothing to rely on now. The disparity between the two sides was too big. These two attempts he made were actually very crude, aiming at using the greed in human nature and luring Fang Yuan to make a mistake. Compared to the arrangements he made while alive, it was a difference like that of heaven and earth. However, Dong Fang Changfan only had his soul remaining. It was understandable that his abilities had dropped greatly. Fang Yuan was not tricked, and after resting appropriately, his third soul search finally yielded him the thing he wanted the most, Dong Fang Changfan's wisdom path inheritance. What Fang Yuan had not imagined was that Dong Fang Changfan's wisdom path inheritance was actually somewhat connected to star constellation Immortal Venerable. Naturally, it was not an inheritance left behind by star constellation Immortal Venerable herself. If it was left behind by an Immortal Venerable, Dong Fong Chang Fan would not have fallen into such a state. Re. Add updated st. Rise at n/vel/bin.com. Originally, this inheritance was left behind in ancient times by a rank 8-star Path Gu Immortal of Heavenly Court. He was adept in exploring secrets, and after obtaining some secrets of star constellation Immortal Venerable, he tried to analyze her abilities, thus creating this imitation. This Gu Immortal was a star Path Gu Immortal, but his creation was of Wisdom Path. This Wisdom Path inheritance used Star Thought Gu as its foundation, and was related very close to Star Path, as it entered into Wisdom Path via Star Path. Even the refinement of Star Thought Gu used Starlight Gu as the main material. The more Fong Yuan comprehended, the greater his joy, as he felt this journey was truly worth it. This Wisdom Path inheritance did not have any specific strong points, other than being particularly good in making deductions. Dong Fong Chang Fan relied on this to deduce the phantom formation, methods of controlling the phantom beast army and so on. This Wisdom Path inheritance is so comprehensive that I have an urge to switch to Wisdom Path. Fong Yuan sighed. This harvest was truly extremely bountiful. A complete inheritance, regardless of which path, covered all aspects like attack, defense, healing, movement, investigation and others. All of these aspects might not be too outstanding, but there was no shortcomings either, and would not be easily countered by others. Since Fong Yuan's rebirth, his cultivation in strength path was formed together from bits and pieces, or was modified by himself, and was not an inheritance of a predecessor. This Wisdom Path inheritance's true value was the same as the Blood Path true inheritance Fong Yuan obtained in his previous life. In Fong Yuan's previous life, it was because of this Blood Path true inheritance that he had a platform to make his rise. One can well imagine the value of this Wisdom Path inheritance from this. Blood Sea ancestor was not even a rank 8 Gu immortal and also had divided his true inheritances into 7 parts, thus this Wisdom Path inheritance Fong Yuan obtained was even more valuable. A pity that I obtained this inheritance a bit late. I am already walking on Strength Path, even though I still have the first aperture, it died after I turned into an immortal zombie and cannot be cultivated. However, Fong Yuan reconsidered. If he had truly cultivated this Wisdom Path inheritance earlier, he might not have necessarily created the Immortal Killer Move Myriad self. The future prospects in strength provided by the Immortal Killer Move Myriad self was certainly greater than the future prospects in strength provided by this Wisdom Path inheritance. It is also because I cultivate Strength Path, that I could kill Dong Fong Chang Fan and seize this Wisdom Path inheritance. How could there be effect without cause? Fong Yuan shook his head, clearing up his disorganized thoughts. Regardless, this Wisdom Path inheritance came at an opportune time and was extremely suitable for Fong Yuan. Why was that? There was only one reason, that was, rank 9 Wisdom Gu. Who immortal blessed land was holding Wisdom Gu? Fong Yuan would get unlimited inspiration under the light of wisdom, deducing many immortal Gu recipes, immortal killer moves and so on. But this had one large disadvantage, the thoughts in his mind were consumed extremely quickly. Previously, when he had delight in water and mountain immortal Gu, he had to spend precious green grape immortal essence for large amounts of joyful will to support this consumption. He sold delight in water and mountain immortal Gu in the auction, and although he earned good profits, malicious thought Gu and memory thought Gu both could not bear the intense consumption. Even though Fong Yuan created a stone nest particularly for large numbers of hairy men to refine Gu with almost no rest, having them supplied with the greatest speed, it still could not match a session of consumption under the light of wisdom. This was the largest obstacle restricting Fang Yuan from making deductions. But it was alright now. With this wisdom path inheritance, Fang Yuan could use a smaller price and have higher efficiency in deducing all kinds of things. Land spirit, where are you? Fang Yuan lightly tapped his foot. Master, I am here. Little Hu Immortal appeared in front of Fang Yuan, instantly. Her small face was flushed red, tender and plump. Her snow-white furry tail was wagging happily at Fang Yuan's summon. Fang Yuan spoke, immediately stop the second stone nest's refinement of malicious thought Gu and change it to refining star thought Gu. This is the Gu recipe, go make the arrangement. Understood, Master. Have you already made appropriate arrangements for the resources I brought? Fang Yuan asked. The moment he returned to Hu Immortal Blessed Land, he had taken out all the resources from his immortal aperture and had them arranged in Hu Immortal Blessed Land. The concrete work was handed to Little Hu Immortal. His immortal aperture was filled with death energy. It was okay for temporarily storing these resources, but if they were stored for a long time, they would be pervaded by death energy, which could cause the value of most of the resources to drop by a large extent. Everything has been arranged, Master. The air bubble fish group has been placed in the east of the Blessed Land, together with the previous air bubble fish. There are a lot of air bubble fish and the starlight firefly Gu are above them. In the future, the production of starlight firefly Gu will definitely increase greatly. As for that group of close to 1 million dragonfish, they are temporarily placed in other small lakes. After some time, we can send rock men to dig a large lake and put the dragonfish group together. Their reproduction will increase even more this way. For literature carps, I specially dug a small pool to store them away from plain sight. Other than those that died, there are over 1,000 living eerie fire dragon pythons which have already been joined together with the few we had before. They have occupied a large territory in the southern part of the Blessed Land. Oh, there is also oil, water and some other common resources which have been temporarily placed in Dang Hun Palace's storage rooms. The regretful spider group has been placed in the northern part of the Blessed Land, which has a long and narrow terrain. I spent a great deal of effort to make the proper arrangements. Little Hu Immortal eagerly raised her head, with an expression that said she wanted to be praised for her work. Fang Yuan smiled, and praised, "Ah, our Little Hu Immortal is the most capable." Little Hu Immortal smiled, her large and round eyes curved into a crescent moon-like shape, and her snow-white tail rapidly wagged. For a moment, she was carried away with happiness, lightly hopping to Fang Yuan's foot and hugging his thick calf. She pressed her tender face on Fang Yuan's calf, before raising her head and looking at Fang Yuan with her large watery eyes, her face flushed red with excitement as she spoke adoringly, "Master, you are amazing, you brought so many good things this time. We can earn a lot, Hu Immortal Blessed Land has never been so wealthy." Fang Yuan laughed heartily and picked Little Hu Immortal like picking a kitten, and placed her on his broad shoulder. "Don't worry, good times are still ahead." Little Hu Immortal nodded multiple times, having complete faith in Fang Yuan's ability. But with somewhat of a worried tone, she reminded, Master, I have something to report. That desolate beast shark fin wolf you brought just now is not in such a good state. It is always hiding inside the pool and doesn't hunt actively, and it even starts sobbing sometimes." Fang Yuan coughed, and said in an indifferent tone, "Don't worry, this is because it suffered quite a big setback. I have experience in raising wolf groups, it will gradually recover with time." "Master, there is still another matter I need to remind you of. You should not forget that the Blessed Land's earthly calamity will arrive soon," Little Hu Immortal said. Fang Yuan slightly frowned. "You can relax, I have always been keeping it in mind, how can I dare to forget such a thing?" The time difference between Hu Immortal Blessed Land and the outside world was 5 to 1. Earthly calamities happened once every 10 years, in the outside world of Central Continent and Northern Plains, over a year had already passed. 2 years in the outside world was 10 years in Hu immortal blessed land. The previous earthly calamity was the desolate beast swamp crab, which carried the immortal Gu, gruel mud. What would this earthly calamity be? Last time, I was only a mortal Gu master. Now, I am already a rank 6 Gu immortal with many immortal Gu, immortal killer moves, and allies, as well as the newly obtained wisdom path inheritance. I have great assurance in passing the earthly calamity. Fang Yuan was not worried, he had many trump cards and resources, a vast difference from when he faced the previous earthly calamity, thus he was confident. Chapter 8:10, Chang Fan requests to cooperate. Fang Yuan inquired the land spirit about the arrangements of the Dong Fang tribe Gu master captives. Fang Yuan had killed Dong Fang Qin Yu and many others, but he still had about 1 to 200 Dong Fang tribe survivors. The land spirit replied that she had temporarily set up a prison underground, nearby a Rockman tribe. She then asked if these captives were to be sold. These people were not easy to control and make use of. They would not obediently listen, and forcing them to refine Gu like hairy men would be careless. It could instead result in those that were seeking death to sabotage the refinement and cause problems. Fang Yuan shook his head and instructed, first take away all the mortal Gu on them and keep them in confinement. Give them a little food every day, as if they are pets being raised. I have other uses for these captives, but there is no hurry. Yes, Master. How many immortal essence stones do I have left? Fang Yuan asked. 137. The land spirit immediately replied. Fang Yuan nodded. Unknowingly, the quantity of his immortal essence stones had once again passed 100. The biggest reason was because of the increase in price and quantity of the guts Gu traded. Every month, after removing the shared profits, Fang Yuan earned 92 immortal essence stones in pure profit. Thus, going above 100 had become easy. Fang Yuan had also instructed the land spirit to pay attention to treasure Yellow Heaven, buying any cheaply sold fox groups in order to raise them in Hu immortal blessed land. In this way, he would be making use of the specialty of Hu immortal blessed land and increasing its foundation. Little Hu immortal had taken action a few times and bought 2 to 3 fox groups, and if not for that, the amount of immortal essence stones would be even higher. Having a monopoly on the business of guts Gu, where there was a lot more demand than supply, it was easy to earn immortal essence stones. Fang Yuan thought for a while before putting aside 20 immortal essence stones in preparation for unexpected situations, and 70 immortal essence stones to turn into green grape immortal essence. In the series of battle to seize the wisdom path inheritance, he had completely used his previous 77 beads of green grape immortal essence. It needed to be urgently replenished. He gave all the remaining immortal essence stones to Little Hu immortal to purchase large amounts of Gu refinement materials, and also asked her to particularly focus on the refinement of Star Thought Gu. I can't sell oil water, I plan to use it in the earlier stages of the refinement path convention. Nor can I sell air bubble fish, they are needed to raise the production of starlight firefly Gu. Literature carps are precious, but their quantity is rather few. I need to wait for the proper buyer. But eerie fire dragon pythons, regretful spiders and dragonfish are in huge quantities. They can be turned into business projects. Especially dragonfish, they can be directly sold. Fang Yuan thought inwardly. These 3 resources had appeared at a good time. Up to this point, Fang Yuan only had one source of revenue, that was the guts Gu trade. Owning a monopoly business was simply like owning a goose that laid golden eggs. But it was only one business, after all, and the production of guts Gu was limited. Fang Yuan had to be very careful in how he used his immortal essence stones. Although he gotten past the initial dangerous state from when he had just become Gu immortal, and now had established his foothold, balancing his income and expenditure. However, he did not have additional capacity to progress further. Currently, Fang Yuan simply did not dare to refine Immortal Gu, he had insufficient foundation. Fang Yuan needed to be constantly ahead, he had to get rid of his immortal zombie body and revive, deduce all kinds of Gu recipes, killer moves, deal with all sorts of enemies, and multi-cultivating wisdom path, ensuring no shortcomings in all aspects. Just a single source of revenue could not satisfy his ever-increasing needs. If I can operate these three businesses, it would be like I have extra support. The earnings of immortal essence stones would satisfy my current needs, as well as greatly speed up my progress in all aspects. Dongfang tribe was, after all, a super force with a strong foundation. After plundering it, my future prospects have immediately broadened. Fang Yuan sighed and had the thought of soul-searching Dongfang Changfan again. These economic projects were Dongfang tribe's business secrets. For instance, how to group up eerie fire dragon pythons and greatly increase their reproduction, how to raise dragonfish, what to feed them, which environment is most suitable, what to do if they got sick. To form a source of revenue was very difficult. It involved many aspects and everyone would have their own tricks of the trade and secrets. Back then, to cultivate star fragment grass, Fang Yuan had to purchase the insights and experience of a few star path Gu immortals, and also pay some immortal essence stones. As Dongfang tribe's first supreme elder, Dongfang Changfan surely knew the business secrets of Dongfang tribe. His soul was an enormous treasury and its value was certainly not limited to the wisdom path inheritance. Thereafter, Fang Yuan attempted to get these business secrets in his fourth soul search. However, what he obtained this time was Dongfang Changfan's possession technique, not only the original version Dongfang Changfan obtained in True Inheritance secluded domain when he was young, but also the method he had modified, as well as the method of extracting origin cores of Gu immortals of the same bloodline to immediately advance to Gu immortal. I can revive using this method. It requires people of the same bloodline. Is that little brother of mine still alive? He is a ready-made possession target. But even if he is dead, it doesn't matter, I can still use blood path methods on a woman to give birth to the next generation. But this possession method will anger heaven and earth, the resulting heavenly tribulation and earthly calamity will be terrifying. The main reason for Dongfang Changfan's fall was due to this. Moreover, if I possess someone, even if I advance to Gu immortal, my new body won't have the second aperture. Re. Add updated st. Rise at n/vel/bin.com. The second aperture's value was enormous, Fang Yuan did not want to give it up for the time being. Dongfang Changfan's soul saw Fang Yuan was moved, and suddenly broke its previous silence, resonating once again as it spoke, "You are an immortal zombie, it will be difficult beyond belief for you to regain life. Your cultivation has stopped and it will forever be at this level. The possession technique is extremely suitable for you. Of course, I now know this method provokes the envy of heaven and anger of earth, and is extremely dangerous. But I can improve the method to hide from heaven, and you can also possess a mortal to reduce the anger of heaven and earth, thereby reducing the might of the calamities and tribulations. You are seeking death if you directly use this possession technique, I am the best example of it. But I now have the most precious experience to improve the method, and I can definitely succeed. In fact, if not for you, I would have already succeeded. How is it, we can cooperate?" Dongfang Changfan proposed cooperation to Fang Yuan. He could sense Fang Yuan wanted to revive, and in fact, there was no immortal zombie that did not want to regain life. Not waiting for Fang Yuan to speak, he continued, "It will benefit both of us if we cooperate, while it will result in harm if we are divided. What are you still worried about? I am merely a soul, do you think I can still harm you?" While speaking, Dongfang Changfan was constantly agitating Fang Yuan, there was a vague hint of goading him into action. Fang Yuan smiled, as expected of Dong Fang Chang Fan. I thought your silence meant that you had completely admitted your defeat. I hadn't thought that the moment you saw hope and an opportunity, you'd immediately latch onto it. I should learn from this. Oh. I have already said that you and I are the same kind of people, we both have lofty ambitions and aspirations. The soul resonated. However, Fang Yuan changed the topic, precisely because we are of the same kind, I cannot let you live. Don't worry, once I extract everything of value out of you, I will destroy your soul and make sure it completely disappears from the world. People like us, the fewer there are, the better. Dong Fang Chang Fan's soul was stupefied, he had not expected Fang Yuan's killing intent towards him would be so deep and firm. He resonated intensely, not giving up as he forced a laugh, ha ha ha, you cannot fool me, you are already interested. Fang Yuan agreed, I am interested. I believe you definitely have the ability to improve this possession technique because you have master level attainment in Blood Path and Phantom Path, Grandmaster level in Wisdom Path and also the most precious experience of using the possession. There is an extremely large gap between my attainment and yours, and I am sure it is impossible for me to improve this technique even if I have your Wisdom Path inheritance. The attainment levels of using Gu were divided into 5 main levels. Ordinary, Master, Grandmaster, Great Grandmaster and Supreme Grandmaster. Master was the level when one's use of Gu worm advances to the level of an art. This level could only be reached if one had abundant talent or constantly trained and increased their accumulation. Grandmaster level was when one had a very profound grasp of their path. With their deep foundation, they could use inductive reasoning to utilize their own path's methods to make use of the specialty traits and advantages of other paths. Dong Fang Chang Fan had attainment of Wisdom Path Grandmaster, Flying Quasi-Grandmaster, Space Path Master, Soul Path Master, Enslavement Path Master and Blood Path Master. Fang Yuan had attainment of Blood Path Grandmaster, Strength Path Grandmaster, Refinement Path Quasi-Grandmaster, Flying Quasi-Grandmaster, Enslavement Path Master and Transformation Path Master. As for Soul Path, Space Path, Time Path, Dream Path and others, he was only at ordinary level, and for Phantom Path, he had not even touched upon it. Generally speaking, all Gu immortals had at least master level attainment in flying. Because flying was extremely important and even if they had not grasped it while they were mortals, after becoming Gu immortals, they would definitely spend a lot of time to study and master flying ability. Fang Yuan had Grandmaster attainment in 2 paths, but one was from his previous life's 500 years of accumulation, while the other was gained from using the superiority of his rebirth, taking constant risks and having fortuitous encounters. Everyone had their own specialties. Fang Yuan's attainment levels were not enough to deduce and improve the possession technique, but Dong Fang Chang Fan was a specialist in it. It was due to this that Fang Yuan could not do it while Dong Fang Chang Fan could achieve it. Thus, he had confidence in persuading Fang Yuan and requesting cooperation. Soul Search could only give memories, secrets and so on, but it could not provide attainment levels. Attainment levels were a person's unique thinking, their emotional experiences, their insights and experiences of using Gu and so on, summed up and condensed. They were their comprehension of the great Tao of heaven and earth. Currently, there was only one method to acquire the attainment levels of others, by successfully exploring their dream realm. Fang Yuan knew he could gain extraordinary benefits if he cooperated with Dong Fang Chang Fan, but he had an even greater fear of the consequences of working with this person, Dong Fang Chang Fan. If he cooperated with this Wisdom Path Gu immortal, who knew how he would be plotted against and betrayed. This was especially the case because Fang Yuan was the true culprit of the collapse of 88 True Yang Building. The external situation was extremely bad, and if Dong Fang Chang Fan learned of this and made use of it, he certainly could cause Fang Yuan to die a terrible death.